Hi, I'm Melissa, and this is the Book Break. And today we have a real treat, and I'm super excited to bring in Denene Millner. Okay, let's just bring her in and we'll jump right in. Hello, Denene.
Hey, honey, how are you?
I am so good. I'm so excited to talk with you.
I'm so happy to be here.
So, you are a busy woman, and right now we're talking about your new book imprint that you're launching through Simon and Schuester. I want to hear about it because it's so incredible. I'm going to let you explain.
Oh gosh, so Denene Millner Books is my baby. It began in 2016 after I just showed up to the table with with the first publisher that I worked with, intent on sort of expanding the base of a website that I had and still have called mybrownbaby.com. On the website, I always wrote about sort of the intersection of parenting and race and built up a huge following of Black parents who were just looking for information on how to raise their kids. And I, as an author, so I'm an author by trade and was doing the website for kicks. Um, uh, I just decided, well, what would it look like if I were able to market and promote books to this audience? And I showed up to the table with a guy named Doug Seibold from Agate Publishing and said, hey, I'd like to start an imprint. And right at the time, he was looking to start a children's book imprint. So we partnered, we did some great work together. But then the stars aligned and Simon & Schuster came knocking and gave me the opportunity to turn Denene Millner Books into a much bigger kind of platform. And I just could not say no to that partnership. They come to the table, obviously, with decades of experience, decades of success, and an entire team that really knows how to market and promote books. So
Yeah.
just decided it would work.
Yeah, that's great. And you've been an author for a while too. I mean, you have been a woman in leadership positions in business and really a role model for women, I think, everywhere and for people of color, because I love that you are representing an underrepresented community. So one of the books I want to talk about is My Brown Baby. And I love it because I just love it for so many reasons. The art is amazing. How did you team up with your artists? I mean, you're a mother yourself. So tell me more about how these books came to be.
So, I am, if you can tell by, my wall behind me, I know to move my head a little bit, but I just love art. Like my whole house is full of art. I would show you if it wasn't such a mess, but I have Elizabeth Catlett up on the wall, Romare Bearden. I have a new artist named Fabiola Jean-Louis. And I just love collecting, particularly African-American artists, because I think they have a very specific point of view that I can relate to, learn from, and just really appreciate for its beauty, particularly as it relates to the way that I was raised and, like how I live my life. And so when it comes to children's picture books, one of the biggest things is making sure that the art is right? It's the illustrations. And I've always collected children's books. I have tons and tons of them, specifically African books written by and for African-American children. And so I just love the collaboration with artists in particular on these picture books and sort of the storytelling that they could tell through the art that partners with the words. So, like I'm always going to love words. I'm a former journalist. I still, write books and all of that great thing. But all those great things. But what really kind of gets me going is sort of the combination of the art with the words. And so Me and Mama is one of those books that just is phenomenal. Cozbi Cabrera is the author and illustrator. And the book is about a little girl who is enjoying her day with her mother. And so everything about that day is about, like a comparison. This is my bowl of oatmeal and I like bananas. This is my mom's bowl and she likes berries. This is my blue beret. This is my mom's purple beret. This is my dress. This is my mom's dress. And if you've ever been around a kid who, really likes you, they are constantly trying to sort of use you as a model for understanding their world. And the same thing with my rainy day rocket ship, which was actually done by a fine artist named Charlie Palmer, who I actually collect. Actually, that's one of his pieces on the wall next to the palm tree, kind of underneath the thermostat. If you could see where my thumb is, that's Charlie Palmer. But I just love his work, and it seemed perfect for him to imagine a world where a little Black boy is using his imagination and, deciding that he's going to use everyday household products to build his own website. To build his own rocket ship so that he can, in his mind, go out to space. And so, between Charlie's lush illustrations and Markette Sheppard's lush words, it just creates the perfect environment for a little Black boy to imagine. And that's what the point of Denene Millner Books is to put Black children on a page in a way that allows them to see beyond sort of the typical stories that you tend to find for Black children in children's picture books.
Yeah, I love that. So I was thinking, how did you make the turn from journalist to jumping into books? Because, you're clearly a writer at heart and telling a story. What made you go to, I think I want to be an author of children's books?
Okay, so, becoming an author was just a whole nother wild story. I was an entertainment reporter at the Daily News. I started out as a political journalist at the Daily News, hired and recruited from the Associated Press, where I covered politics in New York State. I covered Governor Cuomo for the Associated Press, Mario, not, the current, not Andrew, Mario, their daddy. I covered, and that's how old I am. And then went to the Daily News as a political reporter, and then switched over to entertainment. And I wrote a story based off of a book that was really popular back in the day called The Rules. And it was written by these two women who basically were telling women how they should be in order to get a good man. And I wrote a story for the Daily News saying that the rules would never work for Black women because Black men would never go for them. And my editor put it on the cover of the section, of the feature section, and then got one of my coworkers to put on a Superman suit and posed like Superman on a mock book cover that said "Rules for the Sisters: Can Black Women Find True Love" by Denene Millner. It looked like a book. And the day that I came in to work, when that story ran, there was someone, I got 12 different phone calls from women all across the city asking me where could they go to find Rules for the Sisters, because they really wanted to read this book. And then I got a phone call from Ms. Magazine asking me if I would be interested in doing a similar story for them. And then I got another phone call from an editor saying, "We really love what you wrote in the newspaper today. Would you like to write the Black Woman's Rules?" So I had a book deal by 3:00 that day. And that's how I got started in books. And then I got specifically interested in children's books when I got pregnant with my first daughter in 1998. I wiped the sonogram goop off of my stomach. And the first thing I did was go out and buy a baby doll, a dress, and look for books. But I wanted specifically books that looked like my child, that spoke to our experience as parents in America. And all I could find were books about slavery or the civil rights movement, or like Black firsts, which are great, that's history and everybody needs to know history. But I just wanted, stories about a little girl who was being loved, or a little girl who liked chocolate, or a little girl who, has a dog that she really loves. And so because those books were so few and far between, I just decided maybe I should start writing them myself. And eventually I did. And that turned into creating a book imprint that specifically focuses on those kinds of books I was looking for my daughter in 1998.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much, Denene. And we have shown some banners of where people can find you online and social media. And at your website, Denene Millner Books, if there are aspiring authors out there, do you have submission guidelines on your website as well?
Absolutely. It's pretty easy peasy. I look specifically for stories that speak to the everyday humanity of Black children. That's it. No civil rights movement, no history, no, no Black first. There are plenty of publishers who are doing that. I look specifically for books that speak to the everyday experience of Black children.
That's so fabulous. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been great talking with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. And thank you all for joining us on the Book Break. We'll see you next time.